Look at this note that I have at the bottom of all of my work
I heard
documents.
a noise. What's it say?
Wiser, frustrated.
You know,
Do you guys have a frustrated working experience?
I can't remember what we were
I don't
talking
even
about.
know what that was.
I don't either.
When we were meeting on Friday talking about this.
It must have been.
I wasn't even there because I was out of the country, guys. I was such a worldwide international traveler.
You've got that international smile. That's for
Oh.
damn sure.
Mm.
Well, welcome to the Cat and Cloud podcast. We're outside of the roastery.
What else is new?
Well, there's a lot new today, actually. It's a pretty big
Mhm.
day for us. So there's two things that are happening in the internal world of Cat and Cloud. We're going to share a little bit of them with you. We're rolling out two new things. One of them is our brand new employee handbook. I'm looking at it right now. Wiser did the design, whipped up the whole thing. It
It's
looks and feels really beautiful.
That matte lamination.
Nice matte lamp. Let me hold it
Oh.
again.
Wow, guys.
Yeah,
ahead and pop
it
one on the
feels
screen.
like almost. It feels like it's rubberized almost. It's not, but it feels.
Feels nice.
Grab your
Yeah,
handbook
it's-
of rubber.
It's pretty good. So the handbook is all of our, it's got our mission, our values, our rules, our policies, our procedures, everything you might need to know to navigate through Cat and Cloud.
It's
So,
like if you were to ask Donde está la biblioteca, Christopher, you'd say, right here, and you'd hand him that.
in the handbook,
Yeah,
right there. Just
exactly.
check it out. I'll tell
There's
you
the
where that is
biblioteca
and
for-
where everything else is.
Our cool company called Cat and Cloud.
This is amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. So it's like, where does my scheduling stuff live? How do I request time off? How does PTO work? All of those things live in the handbook. Pretty awesome.
Pretty novel.
It's great, yeah. It's a little novella.
Hello,
It's
novella.
very nice looking, though, to be real. I mean, we're not on YouTube as we were in terms of video. Well, I guess maybe are we now? How's this work? Is that how that works? Great.
Just
Edit
the
that part
best.
out.
Just the best.
Yeah,
Find
I'm
us
like,
nowhere.
I only-
I don't even know. I don't even know.
We don't make videos, do we?
Well, I was thinking about that they couldn't see it, but can
What
they see
would
it
you
now?
say
yeah.
you
So
do here?
for a little while they couldn't see it. Now they can see it. It's fine by me. I
That's
listen.
awesome.
I listen. I don't watch. That's why. So
No,
it's my
got
fault.
you.
That's
We
my
should
fault.
make a little
This
video
this
about
goes
these
out to
anyway.
Levi, who is watching this while he drives.
Oh
Hi,
yeah. Well,
Levi.
that's not. Yeah. Shout out to Levi, our once employed, awesome human friend.
So the
now
handbook
works
is
somewhere
one
else.
thing. It also one thing you skipped over with the handbook is I wanted to make it something that was useful.
Let's
so
not make it about you, dude. Let's
Not
make it about
only-
everybody,
I
bro.
think
not
he's
only does
saying-
it have
He's trying to make
all the policies and the things you might need to know, but there's a back half which is a lovely section for notes that you can write in as you learn things and as you grow. That way it's useful. And that's why it looks so nice.
Is that why it costs so much, all that blank paper at the end?
No. It cost so much because I said, hey, can you do this in 2 weeks?
I love a notes section.
White Blank Page, a great Mumford & Sons song. I look forward to sharing them. Honestly, it looks really good.
Yeah.
You should be proud of the work you put into it. I think it's awesome. And
I'm excited about
I'm
them.
happy for us to continue to put little stamps, which will be a great segue for the next part. But
I
on
see
the
what you did
progression
there.
towards feeling and looking and representing like a company of our size that's, establishing itself as fully professional.
Yeah, I mean, this project has coincided with the newer version of onboarding and orientation, and we were working on redoing the layout of that, and the order of things in there. And I just wanted new people who were coming on to feel inspired
Same.
about it. And it's like we do that with our mission and values, and it's like, hey guys, this is what we do. But then what we would do with our orientation before was be like, hey, this is what we do. This is our mission and values. All right, cool. Now here's all the policy you get to learn. And it's just kind of like, oh, okay. Now we're going to reverse it to where it's like, here's all the policy. Now here's all the mission and values. Oh yeah, here's this handbook. Here's this other tool called the Passport. Like, it just builds to something a little bit more awesome. So having a handbook that hopefully feels as cool as everything is that we're saying.
Yeah.
That was
Helpful.
the idea. That was the idea around it.
The idea totally makes sense.
Yeah, it's that idea that if you have some higher level mission or quality standard or whatever it is, any slice of the business should represent a piece of that whole.
Yeah.
So it'd be weird if you have this really epic service experience and then these other things are just like, whoa, like they feel like afterthoughts. You know what I mean? It's almost this discontinuity that comes with that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you want
having
reference
everything
points.
you touch and see and feel in the Cat and Cloud universe is pointing in this one direction, which is we're here to do something amazing. We take this really seriously. It's fun, and we're engaged in it.
Yeah, so you've helped us create some more tools to support that, right?
Would you say that you've inspired connection by creating a memorable experience?
About to
I
find
hope
out.
that
Yes or no?
Yes. That's the hope. That's what actually the real test is tomorrow. We have an orientation tomorrow, and
Nice.
so that's the first time in which we're gonna have to like put these into play.
It's exciting.
Also, I feel like Chris maybe is just now realizing that.
No. I won't be here because Jenny has big work things going on. And yeah. But I looked at the schedule. It looks like it's one person.
It's 2.
2? It wasn't 2 this morning.
That's 50% more. That's 100% more people. Oh no! You
What
guys?
are we gonna do? So you go.
No, I think it's great. I mean, these are huge tools to help support ourselves, our company, our leadership team in helping team members progress, as well as that whole concept of like clarity being kind. And that's something that it's a Brene Brown thing, but
Clear
but
as
this
kind.
passport allows team members to
Wait,
work.
we didn't even intro the passport yet.
Yeah. So tell them what it is then.
Well,
Tell
I
'em what
thought
it
you were
is then.
gonna.
Well, yeah, that's where I'm going with it.
Oh,
the
okay. You said
passport.
passport.
Yeah,
We
so
didn't.
we have this thing, the passport, and it's going to allow us to create more clarity and the ability for both team members and leadership to work together towards the pursuit of growth.
Got
So
it.
what is the passport?
Okay. See, I see what
See,
you did
Chris
there.
is holding it in hand.
Yeah.
He
So
is holding it in hand.
I put the handbook down. Now I'm holding the passport, which looks like a actual passport. Again, designed by Michael Fred Weiser.
Just Frederick. And
Just
or another
Frederick.
guy. Don't you dare
Me.
call him something else.
Gold stamped.
I work here.
You work here?
I work in the
Passport is the
docks.
other thing that we're introducing tonight at the meeting. And the passport, basically, I mean, I want you to talk about it.
The passport is our tool for growth and promotion here at Cat and Cloud.
He's so good at that line right now, dude. He's on fire with it.
It's beautiful.
It's I've been writing it for 3 months now, so
Well, when we set out, okay, go.
the
Go,
passport is
sir.
basically the way of outlining the standards and the skills you should learn here at Cat and Cloud. For the frontline people, the people who are interacting with the things that go to guests,
Sure.
if that makes sense. So we have three departments that are considered frontline. We have the retail,
Mm-hmm.
we have the roastery, and then we have the kitchen or
Yeah.
back of house. Those are all departments that do different things, but everything they do ends up going to a human being that comes through our doors. And in that, we have standards that we would like to uphold as a company. And so the way we're doing that is we broke down those standards into different benchmarks.
Mm-hmm.
Each department has 4 different benchmarks to achieve and various skills inside of that benchmark. So, for example, one I can remember off the top of my head is, barista level 2, which is the last benchmark in retail, has things like minimal waste,
Mm-hmm.
minimal wait times. That's an oversimplification of what
Yeah.
it is, but just like things like that,
Mhm.
to where it's just like, these are the skills that you will have achieved that you will know to achieve, barista level 2.
Yeah.
And all of these are to, like I said, outline the standards that we want in the products and things we create, because we know that it's possible, and we know that standard will help us deliver the experiences we want to deliver to our guests.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so what it does by listing them out is lets the team member understand, oh, this is what I have to work on. There's no gray area of like, well, I'm here, I went through orientation, I'm a concierge, and someday I'll become a barista, and I'm going to learn things as I'm told about them. It puts the learning more or less in the hands of the team member to know, oh, I can work on this, this, and this, and just kind of lays it out for people.
Yeah, it's rad. It's a constant reminder of what you've accomplished, but also what you still have to learn. So
That's
it's
the
kind of
fun-
both things in
yeah.
one, right?
Yeah, that's the fun aspect of the whole passport-esque thing, is because it's like it's a tool, but it's also like a history of like, oh, I did this. That's where the stamp comes in. So,
Yeah.
do you want to explain the stamp?
Well, I mean, I'll get to the stamp in a second, but
Okay.
Okay, so you talked about the benchmarks, and
Yeah.
under each benchmark is a set of skills, and then when you complete all of the skills within a certain benchmark, you earn your stamp, which is a physical stamp, much like a passport. see where we're going here with the theme. I was going to say that one of our values is actively pursue better. And this is a great tool to engage with that value, because at no point are you just completely stagnant and wondering what's next. Because you can physically look and see, oh, I got 2 stamps and then I've checked off 3 things. Like, what's a way that I could engage? What am I working on now? It's like, okay, cool. It's like, I got the 4 portafilter method dialed. Like, we're in barista level 1, for example. It's like, I know how to do the grinder maintenance and deep cleaning. I'm not really great at, my communication. Like my communication on bar needs a little bit of work. I don't have that signed off. So I can either actively work on my communication or actively seek out leadership and say, like, hey, I have these 2 things that aren't signed off. Like, I really want to be on track to get them signed. Like, what do I need to do to get this signed off? Like, what do I need? And then they could say, like, oh, okay, cool. Right. It's like, you're really good. You got your drinks dialed together, but you're not really leading the station. You're not communicating with your bar back. You're not communicating with the front of the house. Here's 3 things you could do to level up. It's like it's such a cool way to kind of engage with the workplace. So work's never boring.
Absolutely.
That's one of the things that we talk about. There's always something to learn. There's always something to explore. And this is just a reminder of that. I also like that you can, if you skim through it, you can kind of see what other people are learning in other departments, even if you're not in that department. So you're like, oh, well, I wonder what it's like in the roastery. You can kind of see, oh, this is what a roaster apprentice would do. What happens in the kitchen? Okay, here's what a cold cook station, hotline cook, all these. It's rad. You get like a whole company tour and snapshot in this one little elegant looking thing.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of work on this, and it's come from stuff you've heard us probably reiterate in many different ways and conversate about on this podcast, right? How do you take something that lived in the heads originally of, Chris, Charles, and myself, and then translate it over years and years through also, the inclusion of other leaders as we expand our company, namely food and continued growth. And that's been one of our large challenges, especially moving through the pandemic, stripping most of what we do as a company away and then moving slowly but surely back towards, that original vision of delivery of, the full Cat and Cloud experience. And we've consistently worked on that, but we've needed these tools. This is a huge opportunity for us to take that and make it so on their own, right? These things are just things, right? They're the same thing as if you're in another company, just put the values and the mission on the wall or in a book. Like, they are only that if our leadership team and our, our team members don't engage with it. But that's where I believe we have such a unique and awesome team, is that we are going to get some really great growth on the other side of this. And now we're going to be calibrated on a lot of that as well.
I love that there's a little bit of built-in competition.
Yeah.
Too, because if, let's say, you have mission or values or whatever, and you slap them on a wall, they just kind of live there.
Yeah.
They're static, and you could act on them, but then there's no way to see who's doing what.
Right.
To where now, I can look at yours, and I'm like, the point's not to take you out, but it's a cool little healthy thing. It's like, oh, Jared's got 5 things signed off under barista level 1. I actually would love to have 6.
Right.
Like, I love that.
I've been here longer, and they have more things signed off than me.
Yeah.
That might be an example of something that would happen.
It's kind of like, so you do CrossFit, and they're keeping track of times, because what gets measured, what gets recorded, like the mere fact that you're recording it and measuring it improves the performance of everybody.
It really does,
right?
They gamify it.
Yeah, gamifying it makes everybody better, and it's not in this way of, oh, I'm fucking taking out Jared. It's just like, oh, damn it, I want to be right there. It's like, we were at that DWA, the Driving Awesome rally last weekend, and it's the same kind of thing, to where there's all kinds of different cars, all kinds of different people, but you kind of peel off into your groups, and you're doing these follow runs on these canyons. And for me, I'm just like, I don't want to drop out of the group. I don't want to be the guy that holds up the group. So I'm like trying to match myself with like other drivers of my ability in like some similar-ish cars, and it's like, dude, I'm gonna chew on this guy's bumper. I don't want to fall back. And it's like, there's nothing to win. It's not a race, but you're just like, okay,
you're
cool.
on.
Like, I want to be part of the crew. Like, I want to be part of people that are doing things. Stuff is happening. Yeah. So it's cool. It's like this little engagement thing.
Well, that's why laying out the standards is just makes everybody playing by to the same goal.
Yeah. I think Yeah, go ahead.
I just think that's again where leadership really makes a huge difference. I've been speaking with the leadership teams I work with, and it's like, hey guys, this is another part of this system, right? Is that there's some built-in time frames in your ability to level up. So there's some minimum amount of time you need to spend, but you can also take longer. And there's an opportunity for people who have been here longer than those tenured times. For example, you could go through 4 benchmarks within a 12-month period. Some people have been here for 2 years, so that they have the opportunity, should they be up to par on all these things, to get stamped off for all 4 stamps. But the thing is our leadership team is not supposed to and shouldn't, right, just reward it because they've been here tenure-wise. Their job is to make sure that we are elevating our company and the level of, delivery across the board. And that's not to say that anybody is anti this concept, but you might be in a company where they're like, well, they've been here for 3 years, so I should just stamp it off and give it to them. And that is something where your leadership teams always have the ability to lead, right, to hold a standard, to really take the opportunity to elevate. And with that elevation comes actually a higher base level across the board and a higher buy-in from intro. You're going to have a orientation tomorrow, and if everybody in our company, which can't happen yet, was at the highest level of each one of these stamps or sign-offs, the person coming in tomorrow is going to have like a really, really high experience. And we do a great job, but that's part of what this is about too, is taking that level and leaning on our leaders to make sure that they have the ability to shape the next level of excellence. And I think with that comes a higher level of buy-in for everybody, including themselves.
It'll force you to take a look at the things that you might be taking for granted.
Yeah.
Because in most businesses, you get to a point where things are just working, and it might not be perfect, but some of the little problems are easy to ignore. So having to look at this and really run through it, it's like, okay, Jared's been here for 6 years, so I just kind of take all these things for granted. Is his latte art actually up to spec?
Yeah.
And he's pretty good, but actually there's a few other things that he could work on. Oh yeah, I got to level up my education as well. So it's completely stacked.
Yeah, I'm in leadership right now, and can I nail all this stuff? And if the answer is no, that's actually not a problem. So what would be the problem is if you just don't ever decide to improve yourself. And that's where I'm really looking forward to this thing integrating over the next 3 to 6 months. Is we're going to see a lot of engagement.
Well,
and engagement brings energy.
Do we want to talk about the other aspect of it?
I don't know what it is, so you might as well talk about it.
Absolutely not.
You should start talking about it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The raises aspect?
Well, that's kind of what I just said. You could be up for, I just didn't say how much and what it was, but I said you could be up for more benchmarks and raises with that. I just said it in passing really quickly.
The idea for us was that each benchmark coincided with a raise.
Yeah.
Just also,
I think it's worth talking about.
Just a monetary show of like, hey, you're achieving this next level. We recognize that, and here's a monetary gain for it, as well as just incentivizing you with just upping your skills. And
right. So if you looked 3 months, 6 months, 9 months out, you would have this map of, okay, here's my potential earnings, which is, it's a reward and an incentive at the same time. And I know those are kind of like the same thing, but it's like a reward because I did something hard and I get a reward, but also, I want to take the next step. I want to learn. I also want more money, dude. It's like, not like money's not a real thing. And I mean, some of the feedback that we got, which I think is really, really valid, that how we work now is because the levels aren't super clearly defined.
Yeah.
If you work in the front line, let's say you work front of house, you're a barista, you're at an entry level pay, and then you've been there for a year or a year and a half, and then new people get hired on, you might be training or helping train new baristas because you have much more expertise than they have, but you're actually at the same pay rate. And that's a little strange.
Sure.
Sometimes. So to be able to say like, oh yeah, I'm a level 2, I'm being compensated for it. It makes sense that I am a different kind of person than the barista who just entered their training and I have the compensation to match.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's been a challenge anyway. And that's, I think, probably if you are in coffee and maybe a lot of other companies that are in hospitality, you might experience this too, is the newer people get a lot of energy out of the gate. And then subsequently they become more independent in their work and they get less and less energy in coaching, which is something we don't want to do as a company anyway, but it has been something that happens as you continue to add new team members and you have, the churn of a semi-intro job for some people.
It's
What
the-
happens is you just start consistently pouring all this energy into people who are relatively new, and you're not pouring the energy as much into the people who have stuck with you and consistently grown with you. So this is also,
Right.
an ability to address some of those things and paint a picture of re-engagement over and over and over again. And that's one of the hopes that will come out of this. Again, we have to see. We're in integration is our next portion of this work, but I think it will come with that for sure.
Yeah. That's
It's-
also feedback that we've got.
And that was some
It's
of that.
like people really get a lot of hands-on time with leadership in my first 3 months, and then you're just kind of fending for yourself after that.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's exciting to see. I'm interested to see how it's received.
Yeah.
We've also made this, virtual tool for the team leaders, which helps them log where everyone's at, and so they can just see more or
Mhm.
less at a glance, what team member has achieved what. That's
A digital backup
The
to
digital-
the
yeah,
physical passport.
exactly, yeah.
In
Which
case you-
is-
Someone's losing their passport.
you
for
lose your
sure.
passport.
You lose it, yeah.
You got to go to San Francisco to the office and apply. Get a new
Otherwise it's gonna be a
picture.
lose
bring your
the 3 months
photo.
turnaround.
It has to be the right size.
Yeah,
Or
must
you
need
just
your
start
S-
over. You're like, I just can't prove that you're at a level 1 at all.
I don't know, man.
You gotta get
I
back
don't
to
even believe
it.
that you're an American.
Do you have a work permit? Do you
We've
have a
lost
permission
everything.
sign?
We've lost everything.
So yeah, I'm excited just because, again, going back to the beginning, what we were talking about with it represents our values. And for me, this kind of, I was looking at it from the artistry value. I was trying to put some intention in all of this and make it feel like an artistic thing that people will recognize and maybe be excited about. So that's, I think, why I'm excited to see
Yeah.
the reception of it.
I think it's cool. I think they're going to be excited about it. I think just the fact that somebody cared enough to put something like it together sends a message in and of itself. Like, it's still on us to implement it.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is a thing that not a lot of people do. It's definitely something that some people could see as, extra or over the top, or why, like, running a business is so hard. Why do we got to do all these extra things? But I think those are the things that really stick out in people's minds and send the signal. It's like, oh yeah, I don't work for just another random company. We're doing something more than just showing up and clocking in and walking around like zombies and then
Yeah.
going home 8 hours later. There's something more to it. And I feel that as an employee, and I get to help guests on the other side of the counter feel that as well. And that brings meaning to my work, and I think that's great.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was talking about with you, Weiser, on the Australia Excitement Debrief podcast as well. Is like, we fell in love with a craft and hospitality and a delivery of it. We continue to grow in our understanding on how to, but like, at the end of the day, we want to deliver and have our team deliver that same kind of experience that we would be proud to do ourselves. And I understand that like none of them have been in coffee for 20 years, so it's gonna be based on growth and teaching and education and all sorts of practice. But that's ultimately the goal, and that's something that I hope everybody remembers is, and maybe some of our team doesn't know coming in, is that Chris and I put in a lot of time and energy into this craft, and every job that we've had in some capacity that we have in this company, we've touched, with the exception of specifically finance probably. And with that came a lot of care and a lot of engagement on our side, and everybody, I'd love to see them.
And a
to
lot
that
of
level.
trophies. Like, I'm still waiting for someone to work here who has more trophies. What's going on? Where
Dude,
the winners at, dude?
I'm submitting to the design
Where-
awards
there,
today.
that's what I'm
okay?
talking about, dog.
I've submitted.
No, in that I think something I've always seen is you guys always believe in the potential people have
Mm.
by working here, and what I mean by that is what they're able to achieve. I've never gotten this sense of, oh, I need to do what Chris says, but it's like I can take ownership of something and do what I believe is right. If it's wrong, I'll get some feedback and that's fine, but I get the chance to take ownership. Like with the merch for the past, almost 2 years now, I haven't been asking any approval on it.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten some feedback here and there of like, but it works. I don't like this, but it works. Like,
Yeah.
But for the most part, I've been going off of my gut and putting things together, and it's been going pretty well, and it's like I've had that ownership, and
Right.
everyone has that to some degree down the
Mhm.
line. And it's you. That's something you guys have always really kind of believed in, and it's awesome to kind of see that in little ways, like
Yeah.
the passport.
Mhm.
I mean, these two items, the passport and handbook, are great examples of that. So it's like, there's no way I could design that, nor could I sit over your shoulder and tell you exactly where to put this thing, that thing, and that thing. I know from a higher level, like what it needs to be and what it needs to do and what it needs to feel like, and a lot of that is a gut feeling, like an intuitive thing that is like really hard to articulate. But then working with someone else who can take that and turn it into a reality,
Yeah.
that's best case scenario.
Mhm.
Because I get to flex my creative brain, you get to flex your creative brain, put those things together, and then at the end of the day, we have this thing that exists
Right.
that neither one of us can make by ourselves. So I
It's a
enjoy
beautiful
that.
symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
The benchmark for me was just beating Calavera.
What do you mean?
They made their little handbook,
Oh,
and he showed it
Oh.
with you a long time ago.
oh,
and you were like,
were so
This
pissed.
is so cool. We should do something like this. He made it all on Canva.
Well, you understand. Okay.
And I'm
fuck.
like, I'm going to do better than that.
Well,
Hey.
no.
Just kidding.
Here's
Fire was lit, dude.
Here's where Jesus Christ. Now I have to talk about Evan on the podcast, right? It's like the whole point is not to compare and contrast.
I know.
What I
I'm
was
just kidding.
impressed with, which you were giving me shit because it's like he made it on Canva, and I was like, well, he's not a fucking designer, right? He's
He used a nice AI tool.
he's a coffee guy, right? What got me going was they have something that's done, it's polished,
Yeah.
it's colorful, it's got their brand identity on it, and it exists, and
Yeah.
we didn't have anything. And I thought that was kind of
We were jealous.
I was pretty jealous. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was, and that's why I shared it to you. So I wasn't looking at it like we need ours to look like this.
No, I know.
And I do think that, because all the designers out there will be, you say Canva, and it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, who does Canva? It's like, I'm Adobe Suite or Die, and it's like, whatever, dude. Like, the tool doesn't matter if you don't have the thing done. Like, it doesn't matter how good of a designer you are if the thing you're designing doesn't exist.
Or work.
It's like, who cares? The thing that the guy made in Canva is better than yours because it exists and
It's just like-
it's being put into use. And
It's-
that's what I love when I see small businesses who, like, cool, he doesn't have the money to hire a designer. Like, he doesn't have anybody on staff who is like got that, like, you're in an interesting
Yeah.
place because you have such a depth of experience and you have all of these skills available to you, but like that shouldn't hold anybody back. You know what I mean?
It's like we talk about camera gear all the time, and it's like, yeah, we wish we had every special thing under the sun, but we make do with what we have because that's what we have.
because it's what you have, and it's better to create something.
Hey everyone, that's the podcast for the week. Thanks so much for listening. If you heard something that inspired you, let us know or tell a friend. These are the types of connections that are the most important to us and that we seek to create every day. If there's something you heard and you want to know more about, send us an email to podcast@catandcloud.com or head to our website, catandcloud.com/podcast, and let us know. While you're on our site, check out everything we have to offer. Dive deep into one of our single origin coffees or pick up a little treat for yourself. We have something for everyone, so check it out. Also, find us in the usual places, YouTube, Instagram. We're always there sharing amazing things. All right, that's it. Thanks everyone for being awesome. We'll be back next week.